Y'all, y'all, y'all ready for this? Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to Rev Trev NFL. My name is Trev, and I'm so glad you're here because it is the preseason, which means it's mock drafts, it's your fantasy football leagues that are starting. And listen, if you want to win fantasy championships, you want to compete and contend and win your fantasy championship, listen, it's not just good enough to be in a league. You want to win it. If you want to win a league, you need to start thinking about these things. And today we're going to be diving in to the fantasy football debate. It's going to be on running backs, Ashton, Jeanty, or Jeremiah Love. It's going to be the rookie conversation. Should you draft a rookie quarterback, running back? So many of you are going to be like, wait a minute, Jeanty is not a running back. Is not a rookie running back. He's a sophomore. Exactly. We're going to use his rookie campaign last season to talk about this year and what we can expect for Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love is coming as the hottest ticket in out of the draft. And so there's a number of things that we're going to talk about. So we want to dive in. I want to dive in, help you to compete, contend, and win a championship. Okay. Also, don't forget, if you haven't followed me on my socials, Rev Trev NFL. I'm basically everywhere. X, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and Facebook. Check me out. Absolutely. And another thing is, I have started writing articles for fantasy football or fantasy15football.com. If you haven't seen that yet, this is where this article is coming from. It'll be fully detailed in there. So go check that out. It's going to be a good one. And we're going to dive. This is what we're diving into today. And I'm going to be doing some more content coming up real soon. So make sure you don't miss it. Okay. Let's dive into this conversation about Ashton Jeanty versus Jeremiah Love. There's so much to talk about. And you need to know this information. Okay. So when it comes to every single year in the draft, people overhype the rookie running backs. It just is what it is. And sometimes the love, pun intended, okay, is well-deserved. So should you use your second or third round picks to land a guy like Ashton Jeanty, which is, the Raiders running back, or Jeremiah Love, which is the rookie Cardinals running back. So as we dive in, the big question is this: how could we absolutely know the answer? One of the things that's cool about Jeanty and Love is they haven't been injured yet. I know it's because health is wealth, right? We know that. We absolutely know that health is wealth. And some of those running backs that you're going to pick in the first round, yikes. They've had some major injury history. So that's one of the things. But they're also on very good offenses. These guys, not so much. And so there is a bit of a risk. So I want to dive in to what should you take an early round pick, which is second or third round to do that. Jeanty's going in the second. Love's going in the third. And how in the world can we know if it's worth it? Because at this stage, it's basically speculation on Jeremiah Love. But Jeanty has some history that we can examine. So maybe you just want to be that guy who avoids these players because you just don't know, or you want to be the guy who takes the risk and does that. Now, obviously, when it comes to dynasty leagues, these guys are already on teams, so it doesn't really matter. It's already over. Okay, all those rookie drafts and from last year, this year have been done. Okay, so you're riding with them. For example, I have Jeremiah Love stock. I got the first overall pick, and I ended up going and picking up Jeremiah Love. Why not? Why not? Because he could bust out and become the great one. You know, you just never know. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Okay. But are you going to take him in a redraft league? Is he worth it in redraft, or a very low volume keeper league? Is this a guy that you want to keep? So in order to figure this, you have to look at the past and the present situations. But the argument, you're going to hear this over time, is that people say, but rookie running backs in the past have been monsters. Well, when? Because people just make these outlandish statements. It's been a minute since that's happened. 2018, Saquon Barkley totaled 1,300 yards and 7 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns, and added 91 receptions for 721 yards and 4 scores to the New York Giants. Absolutely destroyed anyone who picked him up. That guy was a monster. And it's, how do you know he was going to do that, right? 2016, Zeke Elliott dominated behind the Dallas Cowboys offensive line and had 1,631 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns in 15 games. Like, these guys probably won people leagues, depending on where you got them. I mean, those are monster numbers. But let's just be honest. 2018, 2016, it's been a minute. So let's do a little bit of a deep dive, and let's get into some comps. Okay, Jeanty versus Love comp. Now, it's a little bit skewed, but let me just read out some stats for you, because if you look at Jeanty, he looked like he had a really good rookie year. He ended up as running back 13. Now, he was drafted much higher than that, but he ended up as running back 13, which is still respectable. He's a starting running back for your team. Now, he had 266 rushing attempts, 975 rushing yards, and 5 touchdowns. But where he had impressive numbers is that he also had 55 catches. So if you're in a 0.5 or a full PPR league, that 55 catches is a lot. He had 346 receiving yards, and then he had another 5 touchdowns. So in his rookie year, he had 10 touchdowns on a terrible Raiders team. But if we take a closer look at Jeanty's rookie year, he was the number 1 running back in the entire league in week 4 against the Chicago Bears, and in week 16 versus the Texans. But he had under 9.2 fantasy points 7 out of the 17 weeks. And if you owned him, you were disappointed because he was a bust for most of the season. If you just look at things and, oh, look, he was running back 13 last year. It's like, yeah, he was great for about 3-4 weeks, and that's it. He was great for 2 weeks. He was good for 2 more weeks to make it 4. Like, literally, you are really disappointed with him. So do you want to do that? So I wanted to dive in to the college numbers. So between Jeremiah Love and Jeanty, now this is all on the website if you want to go check it out. But Jeanty with Boise State 2024, he had 374 rush attempts. Wow, that's a lot of rushing attempts. 2,601 rushing yards, 29 rushing touchdowns, only 23 receptions on 138 receiving yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. It blows my mind to see with those catches and coming out of the backfield, catching the ball. He was not known as he's a great route runner. He's a great pass catching running back. And then he goes on and has 55 receptions and 5 touchdowns. Are you kidding me with the Raiders? So that didn't make any sense. But you got to remember that he was his insanely great numbers, but get to factor in the programs that he played with Boise State and who they played. Okay, but those are monster numbers. Okay, Jeremiah Love with Notre Dame only had 199 rushing attempts, but he had 1,300 rushing yards, which is half of what Jeanty did. 11 rushing touchdowns, okay? Not even close to Jeanty's. 27 receptions and 280 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. But you can't really compare those completely all together, because here's another thing that happened in Jeremiah Love's final season. He also was a Notre Dame running back tandem with Jadarian Price. Now, Jadarian Price from Notre Dame rushed for 113 rush attempts, 674 rushing yards, 11 rushing touchdowns, 6 receptions, 87 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. So Jeanty was the lead back in Boise State, and Love and Price were both drafted in the first round for a legit reason, because these guys are dynamic players. I think they're all worthy to be picked in a draft. So here's the thing. And I'll just see it. There's a couple of people in the comments here. So we'll just get into those comments in a second. But what can you expect from Jeremiah Love? This is a good question. I think Jeremiah Love is super talented. I don't think you can expect the same rookie numbers as Jeanty, because there's 3 main things to consider. Okay, there's 3 main things to consider. Number 1 is O-line play. Number 2 is timeshare. And number 3 is, let's talk about those stud tight ends, okay? So O-line play, the bad news is Jeremiah Love is behind a terrible Cardinals O-line, okay? The good news is Jacoby Brissett is back at quarterback. The ugly news is that Arizona is going to be a bottom 5 team who plays the Rams and the Seahawks twice, and the 49ers will be better too. Now, you can say, well, the Raiders came last place last year. Good point. And Jeanty still put up the big numbers. If you also watched the Cardinals, I can't believe how many passes their wide receivers are dropping. I am concerned about that offense in general. But are they just going to give the ball to Jeremiah Love and just let him cook? We're about to find out. The second thing is the timeshare. The second biggest problem is a possible shared backfield. For some reason, James O'Connor has still an effective fantasy football pedigree. I mean, he's obviously in his twilight years, and Tyler Algier has been getting first-team reps. Okay, so Love is the most talented, but it is a bit of a busy backfield. I think Tyler Algier is going to eat into some of his work, and that might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. I'm leaning that's going to be a bad thing. So the third thing is stud tight ends. Brock Bowers was injured for the Raiders last year, hence Jeanty got the reception volume. McBride last season was the number 1 tight end in fantasy on that horrible Cardinals offense, and still was healthy and still is healthy, and Love is not going to get the same workload in the receiving game. So where should both these guys get drafted? Well, I can see these 2 running back scenarios are very different. Just because Jeremiah Love is super talented doesn't mean he should be drafted in the 3rd round. And at Love's current ADP, as I wrote this article, as I do this, I would rather draft a guy like Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, if he doesn't get suspended, and Javonte Williams before him. But regarding Jeanty, with Coach Clint Kubiak in Vegas, and then you think about the rookie quarterback Mendoza, or they might be going with the veteran quarterback and Kirk Cousins at the helm, a healthy Brock Bowers, an improved Raiders O-line. Jeanty could be poised to post a strong running back 1 season in his 2nd season. So I still have him outside of my top 10 running backs, but does he regress or slightly improve? I have him as a late second round or an early third round pick. I don't know if he'll make it to the third round. If he does, pick Jeanty there. Everything comes down to situation and skill and health, but these running backs are definitely very skilled, and but they're both in bad situations, right? So option 3, though, let's okay, we got all that about Jeremiah Love, we got all that about Jeanty, but why not wait until the end of the 5th round or early 6th and just select Jadarian Price on fantasy15football.com. Our site says this about Jadarian Price: with the Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker now wearing Kansas City's jersey and Zach Charbonnet recovering from last season's injury, the sky is the limit for Jadarian Price. He'll be the lead back and could outright steal the #1 job before Charbonnet is able to come back to the lineup. Huge carry volume the first half of the season for Price. So in my opinion, when Charbonnet comes back, Price will be the solidified #1 running back. He's going to show the world that he's very good, and he's going to take that job and run with it, pun intended. So the big question is, before I get into all that stuff, when do you feel comfortable drafting either Jeanty or Love? Or will you wait and land Price in a couple rounds later? Post in the comments what you think about that. I'm going to dive into the comments. Japan's here. What up, Trev? Hey, good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. Pumped that it's football season. Pumped that it's fantasy football season. My friend Andy's here. Says, I'd take Jeanty. That Cardinals offense is going to be atrocious. And yes, that's what a lot of people are going to do. Are you going to take him in the 2nd round, though, Andy? That's the question. There's a lot of good running backs sitting there. Now, for example, I said Kyren Williams. You'd need to take Blake Corum. If you take Kyren Williams, you need to have a handcuff there. Josh Jacobs does have a suspension looming. And Javonte Williams, I think he could be a very good running back this year with Dallas. So those are some of the things, right? So those are some of the things that are happening there. But what do you guys feel comfortable drafting, either Jeanty or Love? When would you do that? When would you draft them? Or are you going to wait and go get Price in the 6th round? Problem is, and I'm going to do a video on this, is 3, 4, and 5 rounds. There are some really good players there that you'll want to take. If you can land Price in 6, that would be really good value. But I don't know. He might not make it to 6. You might have to take him in the 5th round. You're going to see in the preseason what he looks like, everyone. You're going to see in the preseason what he looks like. All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Appreciate you being here. And I hope that you kick butt in your fantasy draft. I hope that you can have a great draft and you'll be able to compete and contend and win a championship. Hope you have a fantastic night. And thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
Y'all ready for this?